This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
White trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey, everybody, welcome to King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
He is Rusty, and Rusty has returned.
I have returned.
Tell us about your terrible adventures there, Rusty.
Yeah, so on the 29th of October, I decided, hey, I'm going to stop in and grab me this #1 from Sonic. Just the burger, nothing crazy, you know.
Really? It was just the burger?
It was just the burger. Didn't eat nothing but the burger, man. No, just a burger. That was it. And ended up in the hospital twice.
Hospital?
So, yeah, I actually ended up in the hospital twice. I went home. I did like 4 days in the hospital.
Sure.
Went home for 12 hours and then ended up in there for another 5 days after that. It was a food-related illness. I ate the burger, obviously, and it was either the onions or whatever issue that's been going on in the world. I know there's been some tomfoolery going on out there with food right now, and put me in the hospital. So when I vomit, I vomit violently, and I vomited for 4 days straight. So it was like every 20 to 30 minutes for 4 days. And, you know, as a stubborn man that generally heals pretty quickly, I thought I could manage it at home.
Sure.
I saw blood in my puke, so that's when I was like, well, maybe I can't figure this out. So I called an ambulance, and they came and picked me up that night and took me. And long story short, I have some gastrointestinal stuff that I'm going through right now. Nothing that can't be healed, nothing that's not going to correct itself eventually with time. So it's not like a long-lasting illness that I'm going to have to deal with. I just got to deal with it for the next couple of months, paying attention to what I eat and stuff like that.
So basically you threw up so much and so violently that your insides started to
explode, pretty much. Yeah, there's
Gotcha.
a lot of almost they call them Mallory Weiss tears.
Okay,
is what the name of the tears are. So
who's this poor Mallory Weiss?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't even look that up. I wanted to look that up. I'll probably do that after the show.
Yeah, sure.
So they call them Mallory Weiss tears. So I had a bunch of that going on. And then I had a slight umbilical hernia as well from puking so hard.
Umbilical hernia?
That's what they call it. Yeah, it's like right by your belly button, kind of thing. It's where your diaphragm pushes up on your stomach. So,
or where your umbilical cord may have been.
Another thing of it is the upper part of my stomach. I was vomiting so hard that it was pushing itself into my esophagus.
Yikes!
So that was so this is just like my word to the wise for anybody out there. If you're sick and you're vomiting and it's like you're on day 1, you're probably okay. Day 2, you're still vomiting, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Especially on day 2. If I would have went to the doctor day 2, they would have given me a bunch of anti-nausea medicine, and I would have been able to make it through and not have to be hospitalized for it. Right. But I'll never be that stubborn again. That's for sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Did I have the boot on last time you saw me? The boot on my foot?
No. What happened to your foot?
While you were gone, I broke both of my feet.
Both of your feet? Wow.
It's not as violent as it sounds. One foot, the right foot has a crack across the top of it, so it's just a.
What did you do?
And then the other foot, He says, thanks for the info. The other side, I have neuropathy in my feet, so I can't feel my feet real well. And I kicked the same chair 3 times.
Ooh.
Not thinking about it because I dragged my feet.
Yeah.
And whole foot turned black and all that stuff. So anyway, I went to the podiatrist. He said, yep, you got a broken toe on this foot and you got a stress fracture in that foot. And then he gave me this big-ass boot to wear. And I'm telling you, Rusty, I wore it for about a week, and my back started hurting like crazy because I'm walking on like Frankenstein on one side of my body.
Just wobbling
and
around.
so I have now jettisoned that thing into the sun and decided it heals how it heals. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
And then Zach will be back tomorrow, which is exciting.
That is exciting. He's been out for some time.
He's been out for some time. He had some gastrointestinal stuff also, and had to have surgery, part of his colon removed.
Mine's not that dramatic.
I get
mine was
it.
dramatic in its own way, but not that dramatic.
And then also they had a baby. So
Wow.
It's been 2 weeks, and he will be back tomorrow. Oh, my God, sorry. He'll be back tomorrow.
That's good. I know I know that'll take a lot off your
I'm
back.
just looking forward to it. Having a full team will be nice. And,
y'all
and I certainly
been
count
down.
you as that, too. And by the way, Rusty, don't let me forget to tell you about the Christmas party after this.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Well, gang's all here, folks. The only thing that's not here, a bell or a yell at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, which is kind of odd.
I don't get it.
Being the ultimate episode here, the last of the.
Well, yeah, it's
premiere.
the season finale,
sorry,
right?
not premiere,
They're
season
supposed to have a
finale.
bell and a yell. I just put no bell, no bell. WTF?
Yep.
Okay.
I guess they got us on that one.
They did.
Our theory has been debunked.
Our theory has been debunked.
Yeah.
That's right. So this is the second half of the season finale. This is supposed to
Japan or
supposed
something
to be 6ABE 20.
Japanese.
It's actually season 6, episode 21. This is part 2 that we're going to talk about. This aired May 12th, 2002, and I may have said that about the last one. If I did, pardon my my inability to speak.
This is the 126th episode
total
of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
So that's our 126th episode of just the show. So as far as just doing, outside of our bonus stuff that we do a lot of bonus stuff.
Yeah. Outside
Outside of that, this is our 126th rewatch episode.
Very nice. Very nice. So the tagline on this thing says Cotton returns to Japan to learn he has an illegitimate son. This was directed by Allan Jacobsen, Anthony Lioi, Klay Hall, and written by Mike Judge, Greg Daniels, and Kit Boss. What a fucking great name, Kit Boss.
That is a good
welcome
name.
somebody go, hello, Kit Boss.
It's Kit Carson.
Kind of like Kit Carson, yeah.
Kit Carson, Colorado, yeah.
It's a combination of Kit Carson and a pit boss at a casino.
There you go.
Okay, so the way we left this thing is they are in Japan, and when we say they, we're talking Cotton, Hank, Peggy, Bobby. They are all there to go to a service where the Emperor of Japan will apologize and the GIs will apologize and everybody's supposed to be happy. So they went over there with Cotton, which not a great idea to begin with, and they went up to the door of the lady that he was really going to see, rather than he didn't give a crap about saying sorry to anybody. But he was going to see his baby mama. He did not know, I don't think, that he had a baby there. But and when I say baby, I use that very loosely because the man is 40.
Yeah, he's a full-grown Junichiro.
They go up to the door. They knock. Junichiro opens the door, and then they just stare at each other, and we hear a blah. And that's the way that last episode ended. So previously on, all that stuff I just said. So we start this one at Junichiro's door with Hank staring at him staring at him, Peggy looking back and forth. We just hear and then, of course, Cotton. It's a boy. Look at him. Tall as Mount Fuji with Michiko's sweet face. What's your name, boy? You speak English? My name is Junichiro. Jenny? Junichiro? Jupiter? Junichiro. I mean, Number one, Cotton's making zero effort.
Absolutely zero effort.
He doesn't give a crap. So nice to meet you, Junicello. I'm your poppy. Oh, what the hell? And he hugs him. Which, when's the last time you saw him hug anybody? Besides the baby.
He doesn't.
Besides
do a lot
GH,
of hugging.
that's about it.
Yeah,
right?
he doesn't do a lot of hugging.
So Junichiro speaks up. My mother has told me about you. Unfortunately, she is not here. She is viewing cherry blossoms in Nagoya. She will return tomorrow. Cotton says, and tomorrow it is. Dinner's on me. There's a swanky restaurant in our hotel, $60 for a burger, but what the heck? For all I know, it's your birthday. And Hank, he walks off. Hank smiles at Junichiro. Junichiro does not smile and just shuts the door. You had something for us, though, about the guy playing Junichiro.
Oh, Dave Carradine.
David Carradine, Kung Fu himself.
Yeah, he did a lot of the Kung Fu movies back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was what he was
Well,
in.
he did the TV show Kung Fu, where he was just wandering, the planet looking for something, and it was always like, "Can you take the pebble out of my hand?" That's how he was trained, right?
Yeah. Take the pebble
from my hand, and then he'd just grab it up real quick. Also died of self. What do you call that? Where you hang yourself and whack it?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, he died of that.
Oh, wow.
But he was also in the Kill Bill movies. So there you go. I don't know. Weigh them out for yourself. All right, so now we're out in the Japan streets, or the streets of Japan, and Hank is the first one. How could you not know you had another son? How many women have you slept with? 5? 6? I mean, he's really setting the bar high here.
Yeah, he is.
Cotton's 273. This ain't about sex. No, sir. It's about love and sex.
Well, think about
Cotton's got his
How many other kids are out there?
How many what?
How many other kids does he have out
Oh, there's no friggin' telling. It's like that thing for Navy, any port in a storm and all that kind of stuff.
there? Yeah.
All right, so we get a flashback as Cotton is telling this, and it's a very sepia-colored flashback, like old photos and things like that. He says, spent a year after the war in the U.S. Army Hospital in Tokyo. General MacArthur's personal sawbones had reattached my feet to my knees and prescribed enough antibiotics to cure the French Army's clap. Every day, a Japanese angel would drain my shins of pus. Gross. Number one.
That's pretty nasty.
There's a Japanese lady that comes in. She's in a nurse's outfit, like the whole thing, the paper hat, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be, this is during the Korean War, right?
Or
is this is World War II? Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So she's in there, and she says, he says, every day a Japanese angel would drain my shins of pus and fill my heart with love. It was magical. Then excruciating, because she gets out this giant needle. I've never seen a larger needle. He goes, which made it all the more magical. So from that, I suppose that Cotton has a pain fetish. Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah.
He said it
seems like that.
said it was excruciating, but it made it more magical.
Yeah, he might have. He might be autoerotic asphyxiating himself here.
That's cool. Could be. That would not surprise me. The only problem is, well, I guess it's easier for him because he can hang himself on lower things.
Yeah, he could hang himself from the bottom cabinet,
just like the guy from NXS. He died of that. The lead singer of NXS died of that.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they found David Carradine in a closet. One of those two guys were found in a closet hanging.
That's
from
a hell of a
the
way
thing.
to go.
Oh my God! Just your thing in your hand and a belt around your neck.
Yeah.
So he says it made it more exciting and magical. Then the next thing we see is like one of those tranquility gardens, that they're combing the sand.
Oh,
kind
the
of
Zen
thing.
garden thing.
And, the Zen garden, and all you see is a hand reach out from behind a rock and just grab the sand in ecstasy. So they're fucking behind a rock.
They're doing it. They're doing it in the sand.
Yeah, they're doing it in the sand, and I do not advise that, people. Sand gets everywhere. Sand and glitter, enemies of humans. He says, I was under strict orders to fraternize with the conquered women, so we hid our love, or not to fraternize with conquered women, so we hid our love during wartime. You don't think about the future. She then comes to his bed. She finds him gone. So we're back in the hospital. She sees him gone. She drops the big giant jar that she would put the pus in. There's still some pus in it.
Yeah.
And he goes, but it comes anyway. I was being shipped out. I did what I could to stay. He starts beating up and pushing on the MPs. They end up grabbing him and carrying him on or dragging him onto the ship. He goes, but it wasn't enough. No, I left more than my shins in Japan. I mean, that's quite a thing. By the way, the name of the ship he's on is called Lane Victory instead of Victory Lane.
That's funny.
We're fading back to normal here, and as the boat ships out, the nurse runs up and she just drops to her knees and is crying on the deck.
Yeah, the old scene where the boat's floating away and they're standing on the pier, running down the pier. Don't go.
Or the train at the station
kind
of
the train
thing or whatever.
station.
Yeah, same thing. He goes, I left a little piece of my heart and some seed, I guess, that grew into a Januccia. I mean, he said, and some seed. All right, next thing we see.
We got Artie in chat.
Oh, yeah,
Appreciate
what's
you, Artie. I'm back, man.
Hey,
we're here.
Wimatanya, Artie. Nice to see you, buddy.
Wimatanya, buddy.
Hank and Peggy are sleeping in the hotel. They are in a very small pullout, and Hank still has his eyes open. A brother. Wow, I have a brother. And then Peggy, of course, throwing water on any parade.
Yeah.
A Japanese half brother. That's some freaky stuff. Freaky? Really?
What is that? Yeah, like, what does that even mean,
I
Peggy?
don't know.
What does that even mean,
He goes,
Peg?
the Hill
Come on,
brothers.
Peg leg.
Watch out for those Hill brothers. Did you see what those Hill brothers were up to the other day?
I forgot a fact. Let me go ahead and knock this fact out.
I'll tell Mason you said hi, Artie.
We'll tell Mason you said hi, buddy. In Cotton's flashback, when he's being dragged on the ship by the MPs, how you just mentioned Lane Victory, it's actually a real Liberty ship from World War II.
Oh, really?
It's been fully restored, and it takes passengers on tour trip.
I didn't know that.
On tour trips around Catalina Island in California from her dock in San Pedro.
Wow, that's cool.
So it's a California thing. You can go out there and you could actually ride on Lane Victory. So
I did not know that. That's a great fact.
That is a great fact, Artie. Appreciate that, man.
Then Peggy pipes up again. Just be prepared for when your new half-brother decides he's in love with me. I must be quite a sight to him with my exotic unbound feet.
Which I'm going to go ahead and clear
everybody in Japan has bound feet.
Well, I'm going to clear that up culturally. That's not a Japanese culture thing anyway.
No.
Japanese culture, they didn't have bound feet. Women didn't do that to their feet. It's Chinese culture.
Was it?
Ancient Chinese culture. Not even ancient Chinese culture.
Ancient Chinese
It was up until like the 40s, I think they were still doing it. But it's where they break their feet and bind their feet up to fit in small shoes, but it ruins their feet.
Well, that's where you get that that kind of culture, right? Where they're in the robes and they have the tiny feet and they're in wooden shoes.
They're in excruciating amounts of pain constantly.
Yeah.
Their feet reek because their feet are rotting.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's not a very
it's just like a
good thing.
A ballet dancer. You know, it's the same kind of thing, except their feet aren't constantly like that.
Yeah, and
they're not bound.
That's the thing is they break their toes inward into their feet, and they wrap their feet like they pretty much make it to where their foot is like this ball.
No, I don't like that.
And it's
don't
pretty
like that at all.
It's pretty
not good,
gross, and not very good for people's feet. So.
So we're gonna go out on the lim
not
as
to
a
shit
show.
On ancient cultures or nothing.
We're gonna go out on a limb as a show, saying. Artie says, so are you Chinese or Japanese? These people know nothing of any other cultures.
Actually, my grandma lived in, well, this isn't China or Japan, but my grandma lived in Malaysia for 3 or 4 years as an envoy of the British government for reformation of their child care system. My grandma was a social worker, so she had an opportunity to go to Malaysia and help them reform their mental health care system, as well as their child protective services stuff.
That's kind of cool.
While she was there, she met a lot of Chinese, because there's a lot of Chinese people in Malaysia. She met a lot of Chinese people, and she learned how to speak Mandarin. And she actually went to China for like 4 or 5 months one time, and spent a lot of time there in China.
The closest I get is I was born in Taiwan because my dad was in the Air Force.
Yeah, you were born in
Taiwan.
Well, let me ask you, how do you feel
China.
about Taiwan?
What?
Do you think Taiwan is its own place, or do you think it should belong to China?
I don't know enough about that to even tell you.
I don't either. I just figured I'd be controversial this morning.
Good job. We did it. So we the camera pans over to Bobby. He is sleeping on top of a Artie says, I am Laotian, you ignorant hillbilly. So he's he's sleeping on top of a dresser drawers.
Yeah,
and
they still haven't discovered
No.
more past
No, they haven't
this foyer that they're hanging out in.
And then he's got 2 drawers pulled out just so his feet can rest on them. He goes, well, I'm too excited to sleep, and he just falls right off. Now we go outside, and Bobby is just wandering the streets of Japan by himself, which I don't know. I don't know that sends a great message, but anyway,
it's safe. I think it does send a good message. I think it shows that Japan is safe.
but come on, with those 2 parents, there's no way he's going out by himself.
Nah,
that's all
not.
I'm saying. So he's wandering the streets. He looks across the street and he sees a game room with a big DDR machine, so Dance Dance Revolution machine.
Yeah.
It's a 2-player one, and it pans up, and you see up on the giant screen, kind of like a Times Square type setup, you see the robots that dance as the people who are playing DDR.
And kind of like a virtual representation of what they're doing on the DDR pad.
Yes. And then he says, then this girl comes up and asks him, danza. And he's like, okay, great. So they get on. This girl dances with him, and he says, Texas into his house. So we've got our little side story with Bobby finding a girl. Now we're at the Japanese Garden restaurant with the camera crew, and this is for the whole sit-down meal where he meets with the woman and the son that he left behind, and they have a meal together, and he apologizes, and they all – whatever they're going to do for the TV show. And Hank is over there on a landline, and he says, hello, Luann. Yeah, okay, this call is costing over $10 a minute, so put Ladybird on the line. I mean, that makes total sense. You know, put the dog on the phone since it's costing $10.
Dog, yeah.
Then we flash back to, we see Luann. She's still got the 2 Ladybirds because she thought one was dead, so she went and got another one, and they're both going back and forth, and she's just like, Ladybird, come here, girl. She's still hoping that the right Ladybird shows up. Then we go back to Hank, and he goes, Ladybird. He's kind of whispering, it's Daddy. Listen to this. I have a big brother. Isn't that exciting? I wish you were here to meet him. Oh, I miss you so much. And then we see Luann, and she's going, like she's pretending to be one of the dogs.
Dog on the phone. Yeah, it's asinine.
And then it goes back to Hank, and he says, I got to go. I love you. And then it goes back to Luann, and she's just like, ugh, and she hangs up on him. Then
That's
Cotton,
the only time she's ever heard him say that, probably.
Yeah, no kidding. And then Cotton is sitting at the, remember, in Japanese culture, you go and you sit on the floor, basically, cross-legged. And so Cotton's down on the floor. He can't sit cross-legged, though, because he has no knees. So they're sitting down there, and he's talking to Bobby. He says, does this bow tie make me look like a puppet? Which, that is a fantastic joke because, yes, it does make you look like a puppet,
yeah, he
Cotton.
does,
You
does
like
look
a
like
puppet. Yeah.
Almost like Jeff Dunham's grandpa puppet that Jeff
It
Dunham
does kind of look like that. You're right.
Which I'm not a big fan of Jeff Dunham. I'm not really a big fan of ventriloquist comedy acts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really been. And like, if you really look at Jeff Dunham's stand-up stuff, it's like extremely fucking racist.
It can be. Some of it can be.
That jalapeno on a stick thing.
He went to Baylor.
Oh, he did? Jeff Dunham went to Baylor?
He went to Baylor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. I saw him perform here at the Coliseum.
Yeah, I just
the Coliseum.
Chip Block, he
says.
Yeah. I've never really liked ventriloquism.
No, we don't know if the dog's a female.
I appreciate the art form. I just think it's really fucking creepy that grown men have their hand up a puppet's ass making it speak. You know what I mean? It's just there's something about it to me that is just really eerie.
Well, I mean, politics, am I right? No,
it's
stupid
it's the same
joke.
Thing.
Sorry,
it's the same thing.
Stupid joke. Bobby says, "Love doesn't care what you look like, Grandpa, or if you even speak the same language." And so he looks at him and goes, "You meet someone? Well, good for you. Try to get a foot massage. They got a knack."
Yeah, foot massage.
That's a little racist.
That is a little racist.
Paper door opens. This woman comes in. Junichiro is with her. He goes, "Hello, Machito." She goes, "Hello, Cotton. I am glad to see your feet did not fall off as predicted. How is everything else?" He goes, well, it's been a crazy 50 years. After I got back to America, I had a nice juicy porterhouse cooked medium rare, just the way I likes it. Then I knocked around a bit. That is an oversimplification of anybody's life if I've ever heard it. I had a steak when I got back, and then some stuff happened.
Yeah, that's definitely beyond. Like, I don't think you get any more simplified than that.
You see Hank and Junie bowing to each other. He says, eventually I got tired of working for jackasses and decided to make an honest living installing asbestos into schools and hospitals.
So he ran his own asbestos installation company.
In schools and hospitals. Hank struggles to cross his legs. He gets down on the floor. And then you hear Cotton again. Got married twice, one ugly, one hot, and had 2 sons. Hank and my baby. Good Hank. Tell me, Coco, how have the years treated you? Here we go. She says, thank you for asking. I worked as a washerwoman to support my son, your son, Junichiro. After the war, I ate rice hulls, and for 10 years I raised a child out of wedlock alone.
Wow,
this arrangement afforded
hulls.
me many opportunities for difficulty. If there is ever a great way to encapsulate Japanese polite culture, it is the phrase, this arrangement afforded me many opportunities for difficulty.
Yeah, that's
it's
great.
so positive
It's
saying my
great.
life
Yeah, it
sucked.
is.
She says, then I found a man who would
I'm
marry.
going to do that when anybody says, how's life going? Well, the current arrangement has afforded me many opportunities for difficulty. I like that so much. That's amazing writing.
It's so nice. Yeah, it's so good.
I joined Blue Sky or whatever forever ago.
Yeah.
And Blue Sky, since Twitter's going that direction, you know. I don't want to get too deep in any of that, but since Twitter's going that direction,
Yeah.
Blue Sky is shot up on the charts as far as Apple and iPhone, the Apple Store and the Android Store. So I went back to the account that I haven't touched in a while for Bois. I made one for Bois, obviously. And I typed in King of the Hill, and apparently there's a ton of King of the Hill writers and producers and stuff on there. So I'm going to start reaching out to some of them.
You think about it, you're still in early days, right? And so they haven't quite gotten the anonymity they wanted, I guess, yet. You know, like you would on Twitter. Maybe you might be able to hide behind something or whatever.
Yeah, Twitter's just really fucked up right now. It says in Japanese, the word for crisis and opportunity are the same.
Wow.
Yeah, I could see that.
So,
Well, he's from Hawaii, or already spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and Hawaii has a lot of Japanese people live in Hawaii, from what I understand.
she says it afforded her
Post-war,
many opportunities for difficulty, and she goes, then I found a man who would marry such a woman, my Waturo. And you look over, and he's a big, old, serious-looking guy. I mean, he looks like Buddha with just a little bit of hair. You know, he's just shoveling in those noodles. And then we go over to Hank. He's talking to Junie, and he goes, so I work in propane and propane accessories. You may have seen it used in some of our movies. What kind of work do you do? Robots. Robots, huh? Robots. And then the camera guy pops in and says, this is very beautiful, but you say in Hollywood we have a capper. Tomorrow you travel to Kyoto to attend U.S.-Japanese peace ceremony hosted by Emperor of Japan. And then Cotton is still in his fairly right mind. And he says, "God, Burke." That's the first time I've ever heard him say that, by the way. He says it a couple times in this.
What is Gottberg?
I don't know. I guess it's like GD, but instead it's cleaner. I don't know. God, Burke, what an honor to come back and find family waiting for me too. I don't usually cry unless someone's pulling out my fingernails like you fine folks did so many years ago. I came here to apologize to Mikito, but discovered I wronged 2 people. I'd give what's left of my legs to hear you both say you forgive me. And then,
damn,
yeah,
coming from him,
I know.
Hey, that is a what I would like to call growth. You know, like coming from him, isn't that a little bit of growth there?
What we're experiencing is something his legs can never do: growth. And
that's right.
Then Junichiro, I just cannot say his name for me. Junichiro. Junichiro speaks up and says, I am sorry. What you did is unforgivable. To come here after 50 years and think you can buy me hamburger and be my father? No. I humbly wish my mother had never met you. And then Cotton, ooh-wee, Jaunty Joe, you got a bit of a hill temper in you. My name is not Jaunty Joe, it's Junichiro, and you are not my father. I am not a hill. It is a shameful name. I formally renounce the hill blood that is in me. So
this right here is a horrible line too.
Yeah,
it's funny as shit, but
it's pretty
rough.
Here comes Cotton. You take it back, boy, or I'll take back my apology. I will not take it back. I come here to make peace, and you kamikaze me? That's it. I redeclare war on Japan. He throws a squid at Junichiro, hits on the wall behind him. Then he gets up on and this is very telling. This is like foreshadowing for when he ultimately kicks the bucket. He gets up on the table, starts kicking stuff around. I got you. Thank you, Artie. Junichiro. He starts kicking stuff around, and so Hank, he's seen this before. Wait, Dad, no, I'm sorry. And then his dad runs through the paper door, and runs off. Yeah. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. He's probably not used to drinking so much tea." And then Junichiro says, "With all respect and honor, I would not be saddened if both of you and your father went to hell." That's a real great way to tell people to go to hell. And that is our first commercial break. We're going to take that, and we will be break. Where are we coming?
We'll be right back.
There it is. We'll be right back. And now I got to play a thing so Mason knows. And we're back. So we are at the robot factory. Junichiro is down real close to the robot parts, checking them as they go by on the assembly line. Hank runs up. He's wearing goggles and a hard hat, of course, because he doesn't want to break any rules. He says, "Junichiro, our dad's missing. He never came back last night." Junichiro says, "My dad not missing. Waturo is fishing for mackerel as he does every morning. He said, please, you got to help me. He's on a rampage. He's already desecrated a koi pond and turned over a noodle cart, and that was before he even left the hotel. I cannot leave in the middle of the day. I am assistant manager, only one of 30. He goes, dang it, he's gone berserk, and when he winds up on the news, everybody's going to find out he's your dad, and that's going to bring you great shame, I tell you what." So that does change Junie's mind. He's like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
he's like, oh, shit, maybe I have to get the hell up out of here and get this going.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Which him not wanting to leave and him wanting to work is kind of shows you a little bit about the Japanese work culture, which the Japanese work culture is people like falling asleep on trains and stuff on the way home because they're so exhausted from working all day. Mm-hmm. They have a real like work till you fall out kind of culture over there, which kind of is I think aligns with like how Hank Hill is.
That's true. That's
like
true.
He's like a hardworking guy.
Both of them are the same in that regard.
Have you already said the line made out of balsa wood and paper yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, well, I got a little article or a little chunk that Artie has written here for that once you get that done.
We cut to Cotton strutting down the street. He's kicking stuff. He's being rude to people. He's bumping into them. And he's talking to himself, God, Bert, this whole lousy country's made of paper and balsa wood. Got to find me some book of matches.
Okay, so when Cotton says that, Artie said this could be kind of a reference to the bombing of Tokyo. So before they bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II, they had it's called Operation Meeting House, and it was about night bombings or whatever.
Okay.
In a single night, there was a firestorm from bombing. And, of course, the city is a wooden infrastructure. It caused between 80,000 to 100,000 deaths in a single night.
Wow.
The Japanese called it the Night of the Black Snow.
Because of all the stuff floating in the air after it caught fire.
And I've also got a fun fact right here. So we've already discussed, like, the cell animation.
That first one was not a fun fact.
No, it was not a fun fact.
All right.
It was
just trying to keep up.
It was
just a fact.
Fact.
Yeah, just happened
not
not be
so
fun. Yeah, sure.
It was a fact, not so fun.
Got
it. So we've discussed before about the traditional cell animation to digital transition for King of the Hill.
Yeah.
So they have a few episodes where they have cell animation mixed in with the digital animation, and then season 7, I'm pretty sure is where it just goes full digital. Artie could fact check.
So after this season, after this episode.
Yeah. So unlike the rest of the episode, which uses traditional cell animation, the shot of Cotton walking through the streets of Japan seems to be used using digital ink. So it could be a digital. This is like a digitized.
I don't know how you
scene.
tell, but
Well, I can tell, honestly, from watching. Like, if you go and watch like cell animated cartoons, and then you go.
Oh
watch
no,
a
I
digital,
get that. I
could-
get the difference, like between something like Bluey and a Disney cartoon, right? I get that,
Yeah.
but on this, I think they're so close.
They
that
did
I
a
don't-
really good job.
Yeah.
I think it was because it's like at the beginning of the era of digital. You know what I mean? It's like this is the beginning of that switch. A lot of shows are still it's half and half at this point. I remember the first digitally animated show that I watched, Reboot. It was a
Is that
Canadian
what it was?
company.
That was all CGI though, right?
Or
I mean, it
CGI,
was-
sorry.
yeah,
The
it
first
was actual
CGI.
computer graphics.
Yeah. The first like computer graphics show that I remember was Reboot and Beast Wars Transformers. They were done by some Canadian company. It was a Canadian company that did
Yeah.
both of those shows, and that was the first computer generated graphics. So I wonder if this like digital.
I'm just saying.
This is that era of where like they're transitioning into digital.
Like now, honestly, you could probably feed all that into AI and it would replicate the way that it does it, and you wouldn't have any problem with it. Artie says, I only know because I came across that fact, not because I personally noticed anything. Gotcha. Yep,
Okay,
I get it.
So
Sure.
he got the factual facts. He was fact digging and got as a fact.
Now we're, if you fact dig too
Yeah, he
hard,
gets
you
them.
got to get a shot.
He gets them. I don't fact dive too much anymore
Yeah.
since he does all the fact checking for us. I don't even
Yeah.
go look for facts anymore. But I like that fact because we've discussed it a few times before where they've had part of an episode be digital. In season 6, they've had, I think, one or two occasions where they've had a digital and animation or cell animation mix.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the era of pure digital, which I believe season 7 is a fully digital episode.
Okay. All right.
Fully digital from there.
Maybe we can see if we can tell any difference. We got Peggy and Bobby out in front of the Hotel Tokyo. And Peggy says, okay, big day, big day. We're going to see everything Tokyo has to offer. And then Bobby is right beside her, but he looks over and he sees the girl standing by the DDR machine across the street. She says, the Tofu Museum, Chinatown. She's going to go see Chinatown in the middle of Tokyo. Bobby.
Yeah, that's that's what Artie put here. Peggy suggests they go to Chinatown while
Chinatown.
on vacation in Japan. Which, to be fair, there is a lot of Chinatowns in major cities all over the world. In Manchester, where I'm from, last time I was in England, we always go to Chinatown.
You're going to have to learn how to
eat.
fix that English accent of yours, though.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I
it's
gotta
hard to
learn how to fix
understand
it.
sometimes.
But we usually go to Chinatown to go eat at least once while I'm there. And the last time I was there, we went to this restaurant where you go down into like a basement. It's not a basement because they got big, huge open windows, but you step down. It's down into the restaurant kind of thing off of the street.
Oh, really?
And always for an appetizer, I get what they call crispy duck, which it's just a fried duck pretty much. They take a
Sure.
whole duck, fry it,
Sure.
and they bring it out, and you just pull off of
Got
it.
the head and the legs
and
and
you
everything
dip it,
still
but
on
they
it, yeah.
bring you somewhere like 20 dipping sauces.
Mm.
And
do
you
love
know,
a good
like I don't
sauce.
even know what I'm eating at this. I don't even know what the dipping sauces are. I don't even know what they're called. You're communicating roughly. Like we were able to do it because my grandma knows Chinese. So my grandma is like ordering in Chinese because it's a restaurant that generally, mostly Chinese people eat there, and it's ran
Yeah.
by Chinese people,
Yeah.
and the menu's in Chinese, and most of the communication is done in Chinese. They can speak broken English,
Right.
but my grandma's like trying to help me order food and help my mom order
Sure,
food because there's
sure.
nothing in English.
Yeah.
And honestly, some of the best food you could ever eat. Like,
Oh, I'm sure.
like when you go to a Chinese restaurant here in the States, or not necessarily in the States, but where we live, because you could get really authentic Chinese food in other places.
Right.
You get like the American.
You get Americanized Chinese food, yeah.
version
yeah.
of it.
There was a place downtown that served a full Chinese menu, and they shut down. So I think we live certainly in an area where anything
not
out
high
of the
demand.
ordinary, they're not gonna.
I think the area that we live in, they want the
They
you know,
want
the
they want the
beef
American
fried
Chinese
rice.
food.
They
Yep.
want that innovation, like that frozen food that you get at the store called
Yeah.
Innovation is the name of the company that does it, and it's like in a bag and you put it in the microwave,
Oh, gotcha.
that kind of thing. I think that is more what.
Well, not even that. They just want to
Southern
be able to go to their
Baptist rednecks
buffet
eat.
around here, is what it is, because it's the middle of Texas. So they're
Not only in the middle of Texas, it's not a very. We're not in a cultural center of Texas.
no, not at all. Bobby kind of fakes a yawn and says, unless you want to rig up some kind of tummy pack to haul me around, I'm heading back to the room for a nap.
Tummy pack
Tummy
to
pack.
haul me around.
Yeah.
So he's saying, if you had a baby sling
That's right.
to strap me to your back.
Peggy says, okay, be sure to fill the ice bucket so we'll have water in the morning. I just want you to understand that concept. She wants him to fill the ice bucket full of ice so that it all melts so they can drink water in the morning. Because
That's
in the
kinda
part that they're
fucking
staying
crazy.
in, they can't even reach the bathroom. That's what that just said to me.
Yeah, they're not
Smart?
brightest people in this situation. And I've never
This
been
actually-
in this
this
situation
actually-
in all my travels in life. I've never come across a situation to where I open the hotel door and there's a foyer and I sleep in the foyer. Not
This
knowing there's
actually
a-
represents the people we live with pretty well, though, around here. Because
Yes.
I can see that being a thing that they didn't realize there's another room or whatever. Yeah, it's a little rough. All right, so Hank is out on the street looking for cotton, and he's trying to talk to people as they walk by, and he says, hey, friend, little help? Hey there, yellow shirt? He sees a guy come by in a mask, and he goes, excuse me, doctor? Just because he's wearing a mask on his face. No one will talk to Hank. So he turns to Junichiro and says, what is wrong with these people? Why won't they talk to me? He goes, what do you expect? Running around like crazy cowboy. This is not Texas. Shoot off guns. Pow, pow, pow. Rambo John Wayne in Japan. You do not raise voice and speak to people without proper introduction. So he goes over to a guy who's walking past him, gives him says something in Japanese, gives him his business card. They trade cards, and then the guy walks away.
Yep.
Hank just looks at it, and he's just fed up. Like he still didn't get any information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get back to that in a little bit. Cotton walks up to a newsstand, sees a paper with the picture of the emperor on the front of it, and says, well, hey, what's the head Magoo saying? He's saying that to the guy, head Magoo, the guy at the newspaper stand. And the guy says, Emperor in Kyoto to exchange apologies with G.I. Joes. He goes, I'd sooner spit in his face than apologize. Don't mind if I do. And just spits right on that newspaper. A lady sees it. She faints. Then Cotton just starts strutting again, kicks over a display, and just keeps on going.
I got a quick history lesson.
He's a real ass. He really is.
I got a quick rundown of history real fast for this. So a lot of people in World War II, a lot of the countries in the Axis got villainized.
Right.
Germany went through a horrible thing, split.
Or Germany still kind of goes
Germany
through a
got
horrible thing, you know?
Yeah, Germany got split in half, all that kind of stuff. Well, Japan never. In Germany, a lot of guys went to jail. A lot of Nazis were executed. Sure. A lot of Nazis were rounded up by the Mossad later on too. Uh-huh. They were capturing them as recent as last year. There was a 90-year-old guy that got convicted, 90-year-old Nazi that got convicted. But with Japan, they were in a really weird spot with Japan because Japan had the emperor thing, and it was like a divine right to be emperor, right. And all of the citizenry of Japan revered the emperor more than they revered all the politicians that actually ran things. So the delicate nature of that, when we occupied them, they didn't want an uprising. They didn't want all this. So nobody in Japan got tried and convicted. All of the horrible crimes, and they were more heinous than actually the Nazis. More people died in it was like 2% of all prisoners in Germany in POW camps, like military. It was like 2% died, where you had some 45% died in Japanese internment camps. They also had a secret camp. So if you crash landed on the ocean and you ended up getting picked up, if you were MIA to the military, they didn't know you existed. So they would put them in a camp somewhere where nobody even knew they were there. Their family didn't even know. The United States government didn't even know they were there, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So they had comfort women, too, where they had taken women from Korea and Manchuria and China and stuff like that they invaded. So in reality, like, Japan never had to answer for their war crimes or anything like that. Nobody in Japan had to answer for it. So him saying, I would soon spit in the face than apologize, it's understandable in that historical view of it all, because they had to be the only country to ever experience 2 nuclear weapons on their people.
Sure.
But they also never had to answer for any of their war crimes or any of the crazy stuff they did. I just recently read a book about I can't remember the guy's name, but he was an Italian guy who was an Olympic sprinter, and he actually did he was in the Olympics in Germany, and after the Olympics in Germany, of course, the next Olympics was supposed to be in Japan, but World War II broke out, so they didn't have the Olympics for some time after that, and he crash landed in the Pacific Ocean and got picked up, floated actually for 80-plus days, and floated to a Japanese captured island in the Pacific, and then he was captured and put in that secret camp. Well, he survived the secret camp, and they found out that he was an American celebrity, so they pulled him out of that camp and put him in an actual camp, and they told him, we'll give you all this stuff, we'll give you a place to sleep, place to eat, but you have to say these things on the radio for us. So they tried to use him as propaganda. Right. But I don't know. It's a crazy story. Really good book. I wish I remember the name of it so I could tell everybody.
That's all right. You'll remember it and give it to us next time.
Yeah.
No big deal. Okay, so by the way, Bobby has snuck over and he's dancing with the girl again.
Who has a sucker, a Doraemon.
God bless you. What does that mean?
The famous, it's a Japanese character, the Doraemon character. It was a cat. It's like an earless robot cat called Doraemon, and it's a Japanese manga series.
Doraemon.
I don't know how to say it, but it's a Japanese manga, is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, she's dressed very much like Sailor Moon with a sucker.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so now we go back to the dancing. So it's Bobby and this girl that he's met on the street dancing. And he says, she wants to dance some more after the song ends. He goes, oh, I can't. I got to be in the room before my mom gets back. And she looks around and she grabs him. She drags him over to a photo booth. She says, okay, 4 pictures. We're going to tell a story. And then she kisses him on the cheek. And, that changes everything for Bobby. He says, forget the story. Let's just do 4 of those. And then it gets done. He looks at his watch. He goes, dang it, I got to go. Meet me here tonight at 6:30. We can pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
And says, she goes, dance. He goes, I can't. Oh, you mean tonight? Yeah. And then she kisses him on the cheek again. So, I mean, Bobby got it going on here.
Yeah, Bobby's doing
Texas into his house. Now we go back to Hank and Junichiro, and they are running through the streets. They get tired. They stop for a second by a slew of vending machines, which you'll find all over Japan. Hank sees a big sign up in the Times Square type area, big old light up sign. It says, oh, I could drink a beer that's the size of that right now. And so it's like a big old giant beer sign. Junichiro gets 2 beers out of a vending machine. Bobby's wearing a watch. That's exactly right. I did think that was weird. And so they bust open the beers, and now they're standing in front of these vending machines, which is very much like it brings back the guys standing in front of the fencing, and in the alley.
Yeah.
And so they're just talking.
Reminiscent of them, standing in the alley.
He says, so how long you been in the robot game? There was not a time I was not fascinated by robots. Robots are clean, efficient, reliable. He says, that sounds like propane. I wonder if they ever made a robot that runs on propane. No, but they could.
Which I'm going to go ahead and flash back to the episode at the not the medieval times, the Renaissance fair.
Yeah.
He propaned a robot. He had, I guess it didn't run off propane, but there was a robot, that big dragon robot,
the fire,
or whatever,
right? Yeah.
That he did have a propane hookup. So
yeah, we hear Hank go, "Yep," and then of course the Japanese version of that is "Hi." So he says, "Hi."
Yeah.
He goes, you're a successful guy, an assistant manager. How come you never got married? He goes, who would have me? I cannot provide sons or even daughters. He goes, do you have a narrow urethra? He goes, hi. He goes, I am also limited in that way. There's some stretches you can do, to get things moving. I'll send them to you in the mail. And then Junichiro's beeper goes off, his pager, his beeper, his deet doctor thing, and he goes, oh, it is one of the businessmen I exchanged cards with. See, Japanese politeness is surprisingly effective. He just saw a shinless foreigner at train station to buy a ticket and dishonor pay toilet. we must go. And so they dishonor pay toilet. They both run off. Now
but
we're
you know why they have pay toilets, right?
Why?
Pay toilets are generally going to be cleaner than free and open
Oh,
toilets.
sure.
Because the guy who's going to shit all over the wall and smear his piss everywhere, he's generally not going to be the guy that's going to shell out a little bit of money to use the toilet.
That's true. It's a barrier to entry.
Which they are a cleaner culture, like as far as
absolutely,
being
sure.
clean.
Now we see Luann walking both ladybirds, and she's talking to the dogs as she's walking them down the street. I'm going to tell Uncle Hank I learned how to clone at the junior college. It's just the stupidest plan.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
She goes, you two better back me up. And she looks over and she sees in Hank and Peggy's window, and she sees shadows. We can obviously tell they're Dale and Bill, but she sees shadows. She goes, oh, ladybirds, your house is being robbed. I love the fact she calls them ladybirds.
Plural.
She flips open her old-ass phone and dials 911. Now we go back to Tokyo Station at the ticket counter, and Junichiro is talking to the guy at the ticket counter. And he goes, has he seen him? He says, question unrelated to tickets should be answered by information host. He is not information host. He goes over to the next window and talks to a guy. He goes, what's he saying? He goes, he say, ask ticket vendor. So he goes back to the first window. He goes, what? You already did that. He sent you to the other guy. He goes, Japan can sometimes be tiresome in this way. He goes, but you're only half Japanese. Look, in America, when the traditional way isn't working, we improvise.
I like this.
I'd suggest telling this gentleman to give you the information or you'll kick his ass. And then he thinks about it for a second, and then he gets a little mean, says something in Japanese, and the guy points right away as to where Cotton is. Now, it just so happens that Cotton's coming down the stairs right then anyway. But we hear Cotton screaming, stop it, out of the way. And then you hear Hank say, oh, there he is. And then you see Junichiro trying to follow him, but he bumps into somebody, so he has to bow. Then he goes the other way, bumps into somebody, and he has to bow. Then he bumps into somebody else, and he has to bow. Yeah. He goes, dang it, Junichiro, come on. And so they're starting to get on the train. We see that Cotton is getting on the train. He goes, Dad, wait. I can't, boy. I got a date in Kyoto with the Emperor. He goes, oh, thank God. You're just going to go with a peace ceremony. Yep, I'm going to go hock a loogie in the face of the country's #1 sumbitch. I love that word. I love the word sumbitch. Such a great word.
Yeah, I like that one.
Let's see. It says, Arthur, it's really good. He says, this is evidence that Hank's narrow urethra is Cotton's fault, not Tilly's.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
It is definitely Cotton's fault.
He goes, I'm going to hock a loogie.
Which makes me wonder why Cotton is able to have so many kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess Cotton doesn't have a narrow urethra. I think it would be funny in the reboot, which I hope this happens. I hope that we see more Junichiro in the reboot, or in the reboot they have an episode where they do a 23andMe and Hank like finds out that he's got like eight other siblings or something like
23
that. I think that would be
and
funny. There's like a whole gaggle of hill children.
Hill gaggle.
The hill guy, murder of hills.
He says, I'm going to hock a loogie in the face of the country's #1 sumbitch. He goes, what? Dad, no. And the train leaves. Hank chases it a little bit. Junichiro catches up with him and goes, you will be proud of me. I was abrupt with an elderly woman. He goes, oh, we're too late. Our dad's on his way to spit in the Emperor's face. And then before the commercial break, we get Junichiro saying, wah! Not bah, but wah! So there you go. It runs in the family. That is our second commercial break. We'll take that, and we will be
right back.
Right back. And we are back. Rusty is still here. He has not left us.
I'm still here.
He is still alive.
Still alive.
That's good.
We're making it with a little bit of Earl Grey with a dash of honey in it. We're getting
very low bar, but he's still alive.
Here.
Hank and Junie are on the train now. And Junie says to Hank, who will want to buy robots from a man whose father spit on the Emperor? Hank says, oh, don't worry. The Hill brothers are on this case, right? He goes, hi. He goes, can't this thing go any faster? He looks up, and he sees a sign on this bullet train that says 300 kilometers per hour or 186 miles per hour, and he just goes, "Oh wow!" Like he didn't realize that sucker is freaking speeding.
It's a fast train. They got some really fast ones over there.
Then we go back to
maglev is what they use. They use magnets.
Then we go back to Arlen, and we see the Hank's house, and about 100 cop cars pull up all over the yards, front, back, everywhere. And they go up and they say, "Open up, police!" And from the inside, you hear Dale, "Oh, this is a Hank Hill occupant. I cannot open the door. I'm making love to my wife, Peggy." And
Bill screams, "We're doing it!"
Before we saw that, it was Dale and Bill sitting in the living room, and they were trying on Hank and Peggy's glasses.
Yeah, they've broken into Hank and Peggy's house.
What a fun thing to do. And from the inside, Bill goes, "We're doing it." Yeah, he's there having sex. Cops bust in. They see them both. One of them's dressed like Hank. The other one's dressed like Peggy in a dress. They take them both to the car, to the cop car in handcuffs. They pass Boomhauer, who is standing in the alley, and you hear, "Oh, my God, Boomhauer, please, would you take in Hank's paper?"
Which just makes me question Boomhauer's actual profession here, because if he was actually a police officer, wouldn't he be, or a Texas Ranger, wouldn't he be able to?
Maybe he's not allowed to interfere in local matters. He's just watching.
But wouldn't he be able to lend some type, like law enforcement to law enforcement? Texas Rangers are the number one, in the land as far as law enforcement goes in Texas. They supersede state and They supersede state troopers and local cops.
Sure.
So you figure he'd be able to come in and be like, "Hey, whoa, it's
Possibly.
okay, guys. I'll handle it from here."
I just love the fact that Dale's only thing he's worried about is bringing in Hank's paper. That's really
well. That was his job. Hank
favorite.
said, "Hey, will you make sure the paper makes it inside?" So now he's got. But see, the thing is they didn't break in and enter. If they had
no,
a key,
they did break in and enter. Remember, they had to break the window to get in there.
They did. You're right.
Then they fixed it.
Which is weird though, because I feel like they had a key to get in. Like
somebody's got a key.
One of them has to have a key. Maybe Boomhauer is the key.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Maybe Boomhauer.
Probably so.
I wouldn't trust Bill with the key for obvious reasons.
I sure wouldn't trust Dale with the key.
I wouldn't trust Dale with the key for obvious reasons.
I'd start getting a bunch of packages
and
delivered.
hell, even Boomhauer and Khan, I would trust with the key.
Sure.
Because like our theory is that Khan and Hank are actually best friends who just give each other a real shit hard time.
Very well could be. So now we go back and we see Cotton getting off the train. "Step aside. Don't make me waste my lung butter on you." Boy, what a wonderful phrase, lung butter.
What a phrase, yeah.
Now we're in front of the hotel with Peggy and Bobby again. Bobby says, "Why don't you go on without me? I saw a nice kimono in the gift shop window that'd be perfect for Joseph." Peggy goes, "You're not going anywhere, mister. Correction. You are going somewhere, everywhere, with Peggy Hill's Tourific Tokyo. First stop, the Disney store."
The Disney store.
The girl is over on the street. He kind of sees her. She looks at her watch, and the watch pops up and goes, "Everybody super happy. Everybody super happy. It's 6:30 p.m. And she seems very sad because Bobby's not there. Some other guy comes up, taps her on the shoulder. She begrudgingly goes over and starts dancing with him on the DDR machine.
Yep.
All right, so now we're at the event where everybody's going to say sorry to each other, and the two countries are going to get along. Tons of people there, and they are trying to get in. Cotton shows up, and the TV guy with the camera crew is there, and he goes, "Mr. Cotton Hill, my lead story just in time. This badge admits you to peace ceremony with Emperor, and if you start to cry, try to look at red light." So basically he's saying if you start to cry, make sure you look into the camera so we'll get good ratings.
Yeah, definitely.
Cotton says, "There's going to be plenty of waterworks," and he goes in. Now you see Hank and Junichiro trying to get in. They're trying to get through the crowd. Hank, of course, is kind of pushing his way through. "Let me through. Emergency. Come on, move aside." And then Junichiro is stuck in the crowd because there's people here. People there, every time he turns, there's somebody walking in front of him or whatever, and he doesn't want to be rude. Finally, he's had enough of it, and he goes, "I kick your ass. Look at me. Here come Ronald Reagan, Mike Tyson." And he's just storming through.
And he just starts saying random names.
Hank looks
too.
at him, and he's just
Speaking
very
of Mike
proud.
Tyson,
He stood up for himself,
Speaking
now
of Mike Tyson, toast to a legend for making a lot of money for nothing.
Oh, Tyson,
Yeah, that fight the other night.
That was
that's
gross.
the thing. I watched it, and I really think that because in the first round, Mike popped him a good couple times, and Mike kept biting his glove. So I really think that Mike Tyson kept biting his glove because he was holding back. I really think that Mike Tyson could have done more. He only landed 19 punches. So I really think it was a work. I think it was
all bullshit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
One guy gets $20 million, one guy gets $40 million.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was a work.
And we can't watch it because the streaming sucks.
It sucked really bad. And at one point, you actually got to see Mike Tyson's ass cheeks.
Oh,
so the whole world got to see Mike Tyson's big rompus cake.
And all of that, and nothing's changed.
That was the best part of the fight, honestly, was Mike Tyson's ass cheeks.
Okay. They walk up to the crowd. They get in. Hank's proud of him because he finally yelled at somebody. There's a bunch of guys on the stage, and they're receiving medals as they come through. And the TV guy is talking to Cotton. He goes, "So, Colonel Mr. Cotton Hill, how does it feel to be making peace with sworn enemy?" Then we see Cotton working up a loogie. He's just he's working it up, boy.
Yeah.
And Hank
doing that thing where you get your throat and you go.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, working it up.
Hank and Junichiro's are they see him, but they get stopped at another little entrance there. He goes, "God dang it, we're never going to stop, Dad." And then Junichiro says something to the guy who's keeping him from getting in Japanese. You hear the words Tom Brokaw.
You do hear Tom Brokaw.
They get
which
let
is a
right
legend in the broadcasting game.
Yeah, they get let right in. He goes, "What did you say?" He goes, "I tell him you are Tom Brokaw." He goes, "Oh, you crazy bastard." I mean, you don't hear Hank call somebody a crazy bastard very often.
No, but it's endearing.
It's always endearing. Yeah, yeah.
I really think that this Junichiro Hank thing is really, really endearing because it's like Hank has longed for this kind of thing.
Oh, very
you know
much
what
so.
I mean?
Sure.
It's like he's longed to have somebody to connect with.
Well, that's what those other three guys are, but they're all idiots.
Yeah. And then somebody that they can have a mutual understanding and hatred for
their father.
For their father. He's got somebody to connect with and like hate his dad as much as he hates his dad, kind of thing.
True.
So I really like this, and I really wished the writers, and I really wish that the creators of the show would have played the Junichiro thing even more into the other episodes. I really wish that we would have got, after this point of him being introduced, I really wish that from season 7 on, there would be at least a couple episodes a season where they mention
like
Junichiro.
You said, maybe we'll get some of the new stuff, you know?
I hope so. I doubt it. You know, I doubt that they're going to pull Junichiro out of thin air. And the reason why I say that is because they didn't use him as a plot tool any other point in the series other than this season finale here. So
they're running up there, and he's like, "Dad, no." They run up to the stage, and they're talking straight to Cotton. He goes, "He's got security everywhere. How many body parts do you want to leave in this country?" Junichiro looks at him and says, "Father, no." He goes, "What did you just call me?" He goes, by the way, he said it, "Why did you just call it?" Because he had spit in his mouth. He goes, "I called you father. There is no shame in being Hill. Hank taught me that. He also taught me there is no shame in having narrow urethra." He goes, "Oh, that was just between brothers." Like in Japan, I am no longer your enemy. And like
Artie posted earlier, he said he was talking about, it was a quote from Cotton, talking about his urethra. "Mine's so big I could have birthed the child myself."
He says, "And like my little brother, I am your son. I tell you what." It gets very tense.
Love that.
Cotton finally swallows the loogie, takes the medal, doesn't spit in anybody's face. Says, "King Tojo, even though you took my shins and I took 50 of your boys, no hard feelings. Now that we're all lovey-dovey, I'd like you to meet my sons, Hank and Junichiro." And so one of the guys in line is a real old dude with an eye patch, and he gets all choked up, and he just rubs the one eye, the good eye. He doesn't rub the other one. I just thought that was a funny little thing. So now we're at the Hotel Tokyo. We're in the room. They're packing up, Bobby, Peggy, and Hank. And Peggy says, "What a better souvenir than a Tokyo phone book." She picks it up, and it's so freaking heavy. She goes, "Here, Bobby, you carry that." She gives it to him, and it just boom, just like falls with it. Then out in the hallway, we see Cotton telling everyone bye. "I ain't one for sayonara's, but I've been meaning to give you this." And he gives a photo to the lady, and he goes, "Maybe you don't want it." She takes it. She tears it in half, hands him the piece with her on it. She keeps the other piece, and she says, "Thank you. Now I have something to remember you by. This photo, oh, and our son." I mean,
Yeah, that shit made me laugh.
And our son.
When she said that, I was like, "Don't y'all have a kid together?"
Yeah. He goes, "So I'm forgiven?" She goes, "Yes. Goodbye, Cotton." Kisses him on the cheek. Real nice little moment. Now we are. They're coming out of the room. And Junichiro is talking to Peggy. He goes, "Allow me to help, sister-in-law." She goes, "Oh, well, we would have invited you in for farewell tea, but as you will read in my article, these Japanese hotel rooms are horribly cramped." He looks inside and he goes, "Surely you did not spend entire vacation in sitting room." And he opens it up, and everybody's like, "Oh, my God," because there's an entire giant room in there. There's a basket of fruit sitting there with a little card on it that says "Welcome to, in Friendship, Department of Tourism." Yeah, there's it's rotten. There's flies all over the place. Yeah. They are very stupid. Now we're in the back of the cab. Bobby's got a picture of the little girl that he was with, the one she took in the booth. And Cotton says, "You're gonna miss your war, Scooch, ain't you, boy? Scooch. You're gonna miss your war, Scooch."
Yeah, wish your war.
He goes, "I never even got to say goodbye." He goes, "What? Stop the cab, stop the cab." Hank says, "Well, Dad, what are you doing?" He goes, "You wouldn't understand, boy. It's about love. Bobby, you got to say you got buys, because Lord knows it's a grenade in a keister to come back to him after 50 years. Now go, boy." And Bobby runs out of the cab. He goes, we see the girl over there dancing with that other guy. They're dancing to Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Baby Got Back, yeah.
Yep, Baby Got Back. She sees him. She runs up to him, and he goes, "Let's not spoil the moment with a lot of talk." He takes her hand. He goes, "Let's just dance." And then they just start dancing, and we see the credits, and that is the end of season 6.
They play the song "Got to Be Real" by Cheryl Lynn.
There you go.
That's the song that they dance to.
After the credits, you hear Texas into his house.
Texas into his house.
And that is it, man.
That's it.
We got through.
We made it through season 6.
We got through season 6. We got through a deathly illness.
Postponed 2 weeks, but we got here.
That's okay.
We made it through some illnesses and broken feet, and
I do appreciate you guys sticking around.
Yeah,
we do appreciate everyone.
I do appreciate it. I appreciate Artie for checking on me while I was sick, and
That's good.
Anybody else that sent me a message too that I didn't mention. I appreciate it. I'm back. Hopefully,
he back.
Hopefully, nothing else happens this year.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah.
We've got a month and a half to close out the year. Hopefully nothing happens in between now and then. And as usual, me and Mike do a Thanksgiving thank you. We do a Christmas thank you.
Yeah,
we do a New Year's
absolutely.
thank you. So you'll get those episodes as they're relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Also, our next episode, we won't dive right into season 7. We'll do a cleanup like we've done for the last six seasons, where me and Mike just say thank you to you guys and just kind of give you a rundown on what's next.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, we appreciate y'all sticking with us. You can find us at BWAAAKOTH on all social medias. You can find us on Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky now. And I'll be on Scoops soon. I have to make an account for us on Scoops. Scoops. Yeah, Mike, being a social media professional, I have to keep up with all the hot shit, and Scoops right now is one of the #1 video sharing apps on Android and Apple. So I posted a clip on there of King of the Hill, and we hit 10K views, and it was the only clip I'd posted. I've only posted the one clip, and that was just on my personal account. So I'm going to make an account for Bois as well on there. And I'm going to start posting our stuff on there too. So look for us on any new social media platform. We're onwards and upwards. Unfortunately, in this world, social media just keeps changing, keeps adding new stuff for us. So as that world evolves, we evolve with it. And
I just want to say thanks to everybody for continuing to show up. I also want to say thanks to Rusty for showing up after feeling so bad and getting through this. Next week it'll be even better.
We're into it, man. We're too far into it for me to not be here. You know, we're going on our third-ish year, I think, right now. 2022, 23, 24, 20. Yeah, we're going into our third year now of me and Mike recording podcasts. King of the Hill's not that old, but me and Mike, we dove into something before we did King of the Hill. If y'all want to check it out, it's called Wake the Kids and Phone the Neighbors. There's 9 episodes of that, and I think they're very good.
I would not mind revisiting that at some point.
Yeah, I'd like to pick that back up at some point too. And now with all of the connections that I've made since then, I have a huge access through Mike Chisholm and his Letterman podcast for guests. So we wouldn't have too much of an issue getting guests for that
there
now.
There is soon coming a time when we will need more and more and more and more content. So I will ask this audience out there, if you have ideas for shows, send them to me.
Yeah, for sure.
You can send them to bwaakoth@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
You can also send them to mike@roguemedianetwork.com. However you want to. I'm looking for people that would actually be dedicated to making a show. So if you are dedicated and you feel like you can do this, we can do it remotely. We can do it however you want to, but I am looking for content. So if you've got ideas, hit me up. I'm more apt to hit you back up than you think.
And also, I'll have the GoFundMe link still. We're still trying to raise the money for my citizenship. We're at 350 of 3,000, so we're 10% of the way there, I guess, is what that. Yeah, but 10% of the way there.
We need like one of those giant thermometers that grows every time you get a dollar.
like they used to have in school for school fundraisers where you'd have the thermometer and a teacher would color it in every day after everybody brought in their pennies and counted them. I'd appreciate it if you shared it. If you can't donate, that's okay. Just sharing it and getting it out there is much appreciated. The goal is to get me my citizenship hopefully before summer of next year. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So
cool.
Appreciate everybody.
That sounds great. Well, guys, we will see you on Friday. And just one thing left to say.
Oui matanye.
Oui matanye. Indeed. To your mom. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.